Time now for today's Math in the News. All right, now yesterday at the end of the program, we were talking about alligator lizards. And you know, I just thought of this very second, and I don't know if you guys are old enough, but I know John will be. There was a band called America, all right? And I think they talked about maybe an alligator lizard in one of the songs.
How
I was just
funny.
thinking about that right now. But anyway, from COM, we have Elizabeth
Yes.
and Chris. How are you guys today?
Good.
Doing
How are
great.
you?
I'm doing excellent myself. So we do have an alligator lizard in here. So first of all, Chris, while you deal with the alligator lizard,
Oh, he's doing okay.
Elizabeth, what is your role with COM?
I am the Volunteer and Community Engagement Facilitator.
So if somebody wanted to volunteer for COM,
Yes.
they would get in touch with you.
Yes, they could. And all of the information is actually on our website at comzoo.org/volunteers.
And is there a time of year that you need more volunteers than others, or is it just all the time?
All the time. We love having volunteers out there, as many as we can get. There's always projects to be done at ComZoo. We do have a couple of events that are going to be coming up where I will desperately need as many volunteers as I can get my hands on for our Boo at the Zoo event that will be actually next week, and then Holiday Lights that will be coming up in the end of November.
Right. So other than cleaning scat, what is maybe two of the other things that volunteers would be asked to do when they're out there?
Well, actually, I have a project set up for tomorrow for one of my volunteers to help clean out a freezer. So the random tasks like that, they help our animal keepers stay on track with what their duties are too. The cleanup volunteers help. We always have weeds to be pulled because we can't use pesticides near the exhibit. So they all have to be hand pulled, and that takes a lot of time. So those are really some fun activities. We try to make it nice.
And you're around the animals also.
You are. You get to have that experience.
Chris, your role with the COM Zoo.
At ComZoo, I am an animal keeper one, so pretty much I'm assigned to a group of animals, and I do their daily care from cleaning their exhibits to giving them enrichment, things to play with, or medication as well.
So what group are you in charge of?
So my area is called the farm, which everybody knows the farm area. We got donkeys, ponies, sheep. We have the nice pig Tonks, one of my favorites. And then I also take care of a lot of waterfowl, pelicans, ducks, geese. I have heron and a little teal, which is kind of like a little duck. And then quite a few owls. I have long-eared owl and a great horned owl, and then a sulcata tortoise and western pond turtles.
That's quite the list.
He's got quite the list of animals he takes care
And it's
of.
worth it to see every one of them every
And
day.
I was going to say, because it's constantly evolving based on what animals are being released, if possible, and then what ones are coming in.
Yep, and typically they try to release as many as possible. It's not
I mean, that's the
ideal
goal.
to keep them.
That's the goal.
Right.
That's the goal.
So an alligator lizard. So explain to us a little bit about the alligator lizard.
Okay, so this is Alberto. He's one of our collection animals you can see in the reptile house. He is a southern alligator lizard. There are several species and subspecies of the alligator lizard. They go from Baja California all the way up to Washington State. And what's cool about them, they got their name alligator lizard because under their scales, they have bony plates on the back and the stomach, just like an alligator, which is not something that's typical for most lizards. If you see them up real close, you can see they have bumps going down their scales. It's called a keeled scale. And
How old is this?
So-
do you know? I mean, because sometimes you get them and you're not.
so, yep, and that's exactly his case. Alberto came to us through the rehab. He was found in a potted plant from a lady that drove up from San Diego, and then she turned him into us here.
So
in
she
Bakersfield.
bought a potted plant.
It was given to her from her sister.
Oh, so maybe her sister wanted to be like, hey, look at this what I
Here's
got for you,
Alyssa,
your
too.
potted plant here. So she found this and then knew where to go, brought it to you guys.
Yep, brought it to us, and we kept him for a while. He's got a really calm demeanor for alligator lizards. Typically, they're feisty, but Alberto, he just likes
So
to
let's
be
say
here
you
in the
had a
house.
feisty one on hand and you happen to bring him in here. Would he be like all on you, like going up on you and stuff right now, or trying to snap at you somehow, or
nope,
claw?
it's exactly that. So they open their mouth and they got a really strong bite. I actually got bit by Alberto here once, just one time because he was in the rehab and we didn't really know much about him. He bit me, and they have
A little scolding right at that time
Yeah.
was going, you know,
And
like,
then
that-
now
that
we know
kinda
you just
shocked
gotta
you, right?
treat him nice.
Probably bit you on the hand or something, right?
Yep,
Your
right
finger?
on the finger.
Yeah, okay. So how old do alligator lizards live to, typically?
So the most information shows that alligator lizards can live 5 to 10 years, and that's going to be in captivity or in the wild.
And how large can they? I mean, is he at
So
pretty much adult size now?
through what I've done research, the largest species, which wouldn't be Alberto's species,
'Cause
it's
this
up
is
to
a southern,
16
right?
inches. Yep.
Okay.
This is a southern. So according to the cowherps, the southern alligator lizards, their eyes are a yellowish color, and then the northern alligator lizards have a darker colored eye.
So does he have the ability to jump and leap?
He actually can. Yep.
Because I was
So
wondering as he was getting closer down
he's
your
not-
arm,
He's
if he
about
was
to
going to
jump
go
on
from
you.
one person to the next there. So I was
not
just
quite
wondering,
as
okay,
much as like you see some of the other lizards, because you look at his body, his legs go out to the side instead of under him. So people more confuse these guys for a skink than they would think of them as like the fence lizards or blue belly lizards that people see around here.
Now, when he's in his display, is he able to be with other lizards, or is it just his own little pad?
So typically we would keep them alone. You could keep a male and female pair together, but we don't exactly know his sex, so it's best not to keep them together.
And what kind of diet does he have?
So he at the zoo is going to eat insects, and that's going to be typically what they're going to eat out in the wild too. A lot of insects and sometimes small eggs, but for Alberto, he gets a mixture of mealworms, dubia roaches, and crickets.
So he was brought to you in a potted plant by surprise by a lady that received it that way. So there wasn't really anything wrong with him at the time, was there? It was just she didn't know what to do with him.
Yes, yeah, no, she didn't know what to do with them, and he came to us, and if you see, he doesn't have like a typical wild demeanor. He's really calm, so if he went back out into the wild, it would be assumed he wouldn't be able to hunt for himself, wouldn't be good at getting food.
Okay, well, that's going to be my next question was, is he even capable of being released based on what you've known so far?
So I was actually there when he came in, and I remember that was the decision that was made, was that he wouldn't be able to hunt for himself, and that's why we kept him there. And actually, when we moved him over to the collection side from the rehab, I remember holding him one day and noticing he had these little bugs, so he actually did have some mites on him when we brought him in. Went through whole treatment, came back to the reptile house, and been in
And
there
that
ever
probably from the
since.
plant that he was in.
So yeah, so it's typical for lots of animals. They just live with those kind of things in the wild, because you got to imagine out in the big world, there's all these little creepy crawly parasites, tiny little bugs, ticks, mites, all that stuff. But out there, it's such a big open world, you can get away from them. But in a small enclosure, like in the reptile house or even your pet reptile, they can get overwhelming in numbers in there because there's nowhere for that lizard to get away from them.
Now, I don't know if the camera can pick this up, but kind of by his hind legs, we've
Yep.
got that little
So
raised
this
area.
is really interesting right now. When I brought him, he was not shedding, but due, I'm thinking, to the sweat in my hands and just
Okay.
the moisture, he is starting to shed. So his feet are shedding off, his back is shedding
Right,
off
and I can
now.
see
And we typically wouldn't
the
bring them
color
out like
also.
this, but this just kind of happened since we got here. So
Well,
you
this
guys
is
are getting to
awesome.
see
He's
some
doing it live on
comparison.
TV.
Yeah.
Do the math.
Exactly. So that's a cool thing about alligator lizards, right? Is a lot of lizards, when they shed, it comes off in pieces. I know we had Rex, one of the other lizards I take care of on here. She sheds in pieces, but the alligator lizard can shed full body like a snake.
That's
Oh,
very
good.
cool.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I certainly do appreciate you guys coming out. A little bit more about Boo at the Zoo, when it
Yeah.
is and what people can expect.
It is going to be held next week, October 16th through the 20th. We are going to have the pumpkin patch out there for $5 pumpkins. Our train will be running $2 a rider, unlimited rides, and so you'll be able to do that all week long. We're promoting toddler days on Wednesday and Thursday, but anybody can come out at any time. It's going to be a lot of fun. We encourage everyone to get dressed up in their costume, and there'll be lots of games, and Hunsackers will be out there with his food truck, and it's just going to be a really great time.
Good. Well, I know the train rides are a lot of fun. I
They
know
are.
you're going to have conductor Steve out there. And,
Oh, I'm sure he'll be out there.
he'll be
Yep.
out there. But only $5 for a pumpkin.
Yeah.
That's
Pretty good
nice
deal.
price for a
Pretty
pumpkin.
good
You can go
deal.
around
And you get
town
to,
and eat.
our animals will also get presentations. So every day we'll have 4 different presentations throughout the zoo. We love to do those pumpkin
right.
presentations. So
Well, if you think of it, I think that song by America, maybe John helped me out with, I think that was Ventura Highway
okay.
that they referenced that. But anyway,
good to know.
Elizabeth, Chris, thanks for coming in today.
Thank
See,
you
you learned
so much.
something, I learned
I
something.
did. I
Right?
did. Thank you.
All right, that was today's Math in the News. We'll be back with more right after this.